welcome to an episode of Meet the Makers here on Block News with myself, Rebecca Hope. We're being joined today by Jessica Contreras. It's great to have you here from the Aclyd project.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, and today we're talking about something really interesting in the space of the alcohol beverage market, which is really big, a $26 billion market. So tell us a little bit about your project and how you came to creating the Aclyd project.
So basically the Aclyd project is a payment processing platform, and it's also an identity verification and security system. Just a little bit of a brief background on how I got into the alcohol industry. My grandmother, she used to make bacanora, which is a low-grade tequila. She used to make this out of her ranch in Sonora, Mexico. Now, from my summer breaks of school, I used to travel to her ranch, and I would help her sell the bacanora to the locals and to the little stores around town. Now, even though it was a really small, project to say back then, it had a huge impact on my life because I was able to see at a very young age that alcohol sells in the good times and it sells in the bad times. So that's when I decided, as I grew up, that I wanted to stay within this industry, and I got into the alcohol business. Now, fast forward to now, I have tequila, 13 tequila here in the Arizona market, and I've come across an issue with the payment method that retailers are using. The retailers, for example, let's say the restaurants, whenever a case is delivered, they go ahead and they provide a check. So that check has to be mailed off to the distribution company, which is in Chicago. And by the time that they receive it and then they cash it, then they have to send me my funds. It's just a very long process. And along that process, I'm left with questions like, did they receive the check? How many checks have already cashed? How many have cleared?
Yeah.
I have no way of knowing that. So all of that can be resolved with the blockchain. That's where the payment processing platform comes in with Aclyd.
So really interesting. At what point did you decide, okay, blockchain, we should use this, we should incorporate this kind of system?
To me, it means transparency. So it's an open book. And I've really been, learning a lot more about all of this. I have a great team of advisors. And speaking of these issues that I'm having while I'm out on, the streets trying to get orders and getting the payments, some of the advisors mentioned, why don't we try to see how we can resolve this issue, which, of course, is something that I would love. And we started thinking about ways, and this is how we came up with, the Aclyd project on, setting it up as a payment processing platform. But not just that, also the identity verification and security system.
Yeah, and why is that important?
So that basically, there's a lot of companies now that are branching out into delivering alcohol to people's homes.
Okay.
Now, one of the biggest issues that retailers have, and I've spoken with them personally, is that they do not want to lose their liquor license. And they don't know if the drivers delivering the alcohol, if they have any integrity. Are they going to be delivering this alcohol to a minor or to the person that actually ordered the product?
Right.
Now, one way that we can go ahead and resolve, that issue and give them peace of mind is by creating the security system where a person will basically take a picture with their ID next to their face, and they will go ahead and create a wallet, and they can go ahead and order the product in that way. And a code will be generated on the person's phone, the person that created the wallet and the driver, and the codes need to match when he delivers the product. That way we can go ahead and ensure that it is the same person. The person that ordered this product is the person receiving it. And that way the liquor stores, these retailers, don't have to worry about losing their liquor.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It's a huge market that's really growing. I know that Amazon has been involved. There's been a few grocery stores, like out here in Arizona, for example, there's Safeway. There's some places called Drizzly and Mini Bar. It's really a market that's starting to grow.
So what is the goal then? Are you looking just to acquire new users or new customers, or what's the goal?
Yeah, so the goal really is, when it comes to the Aclyd project, is for us to create, when it comes to the payment processing platform, an easy way for us to be able to track the payments and be able to get our monies and not have to rely on, the U.S. mail for the checks being sent out, or even when it comes to fintech, having the retailers wait 7 business days to get their accounts. Make everyone's life easier when it comes to the alcoholic beverages market, and then also to prevent minors from getting alcohol into their hands.
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned earlier, when it comes to the payment platform, it's a $26.2 billion market. That's huge. And for this market to still be stuck with checks and fintech taking up to 7 business days to get an account set up, it's a very slow process, and it's a huge headache for the people.
Do you then see this starting, in the US with your already existing company and then expanding, or are you just focused on the US right now?
Yeah, I would definitely like to expand. For now, we are just going to be, focusing on how we can first get this started and established. And then, of course, we do want to expand.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that could be done with this.
Yes.
Like I mentioned before, blockchain, we look at it as an open book. And even when it comes to inventory, for example, if I deliver, let's say, if I get an order for 1 case of tequila and it has 6 bottles, and let's say I take it to a restaurant, and I'm wanting to know a week later, how many bottles do they have left? I have to go to that retailer or send a person, part of the team, to drive over there and then speak with the manager. How many bottles are left? Do you have any promotional material left? What's going on? That takes time and it takes money.
Yeah.
And that could easily be resolved if I could just, check through, the system that's set up and be able to see exactly what they have on hand.
Exactly. So that's great to hear about this kind of project, and especially, from a woman in this industry, because there are just so many men that are getting involved in blockchain. But I think it's great that, you've taken the initiative and made something happen. So have you seen that in this blockchain field as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I actually just did, I was a speaker at an event in Vegas. It was the Chain Exchange event. And I was speaking with some of the ladies that were there, and they were just saying, it's great to see women, getting involved, because in the internet era, it seems like it was very male dominant. Yes. And now, it's very good to see that women are starting to get involved, in blockchain and wanting to learn about cryptocurrency and everything. It's really good.
Yeah, and it's at the end of the day, it's about making systems function better, and like you said, more in a more transparent way. So then tell us a bit about your ICO that you're running and why that's so important now.
So the ICO, any questions when it comes to the ICO, I will go ahead and just ask for people to visit aclyd.com, which is ACLYD.com.
Okay.
And there's disclaimers there, there's the information, everything, if people want to know more about the ICO.
Great. And so then, the tokens at the end of the day are not for users, but it's just for the payment, to make the payment processing easier, right? Or
it's to make the payment processing easier, but also for the customers when they're going to, let's say, buy a bottle of tequila, then they're able to utilize it as well.
Yeah. So what is the short-term goal now?
So the short-term goal is definitely to get this established, the payment processing, is to get that established. The next step would be doing the identity verification system. If I could do, somehow if I can manage both within the same time, that would be amazing. But I do want to go ahead and make sure that we get at least the payment processing payment set up first. As I mentioned before, the market for the alcohol home delivery, it is growing. But I know that we still have enough time to get that set up within the next few months.
Right.
So my main focus right now is to get this established and definitely go from there.
Yeah, I think it's going to transform things completely. How many users do you have at the moment, or how many companies do you distribute to at the moment?
So I personally, I do not distribute.
Okay.
I have my federal permit to import and to be a wholesaler.
Okay.
And the way it's set up is that I need to use a distributor. So that's why whenever, let's say a restaurant gives me a check, then I have to send that check off to the distributor that's in Chicago.
Right.
And I'm in Arizona right now. So the distributors, there's so many distribution companies.
Yeah.
And they have so many different accounts and people that they work with. And then also so many different states that they operate in as well. It is a very huge market.
So your role then is more in the back end and, behind the scenes, making sure that everything just runs a bit smoother. So by you taking initiative in this, well, naturally, I'm guessing distribution companies will start using the system.
Yes, and I've already talked to a few retailers as well, and they're totally on board. They get, the whole, the way that it's just slowed down for, the distributors and people on the other end. And a lot of the retailers that I talked to, they said, that's an amazing idea. We would love to be a part of it. So I wanted to make sure that I did my research before I started, going into this and putting time into it. So.
Yeah, well, I think it will definitely have ripple effects and make it a safer and more efficient way to distribute and get alcohol beverages to the right places. So thank you so much for sharing with us today, Jessica. It's been a pleasure hearing more about your company. And like you said, we can go to the website and find out more about your ICO, right?
Perfect. Yeah, and thank you so much for having me, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. And yes, any more information, please visit us at Aclyd, aclyd.com.
Great. Thank you so much. We're talking to Jessica Contreras from the Aclyd project in Arizona. My name is Rebecca Hope from Block News in Los Angeles. Thank you.